Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. New strategy from the Trump campaign, and that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. To take the heat off their candidate, the Trump campaign is now focusing on Hillary Clinton's continuing email and foundation controversies. The plan is this: to demonize Mrs. Clinton with the corruption label, to demand an independent prosecutor be assigned to look at her behavior, and to tell voters that ongoing scandal will not benefit the country. Yesterday, Mr. Trump made things clear.
The Clintons made the State Department into the same kind of pay-for-play operation as the Arkansas government was. Now, the amounts involved, the favors done, and the significant number of times it was done require an expedited investigation by a special prosecutor immediately.
So, for the next few weeks, we'll be hearing that Attorney General Loretta Lynch should appoint a prosecutor to investigate the Clinton Foundation and perhaps the new email dump, which we will tell you about in a few moments. For her part, Secretary Clinton is keeping cool. She appeared with Jimmy Kimmel last night.
Jimmy, my emails are so boring.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm embarrassed about that. They're so boring. And so we've already released, I don't know, 30,000 plus. So what's a few more?
Now, that's a smart strategy by Secretary Clinton, not to run from the controversies, but to underplay them. Mrs. Clinton well understands that her base doesn't care very much about the email or foundation situations. Her campaign is hoping that independent voters are tired of it. All in all, this presidential campaign is nasty already, and it will get worse. Talking Points predicted that because there's so much at stake. The difference between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton is enormous, and partisans on both sides are mobilized to the highest degree. Obviously, we're all living in a time where America is a very divided country. Republicans have nominated a populist, a magnet for controversy, who promises great change. Democrats have nominated a traditional politician, also a controversy magnet, whose policies are not much different than those of President Obama. For me as a voter, I don't like all the strife. I don't like the polarization, but it's a reality, and we all have to deal with it. And that's a memo. Now for the top story: more trouble today for Hillary Clinton. Just what the Trump campaign wants. Just a few hours ago, the Associated Press headlined, "Many donors to Clinton Foundation met with her at State." Joining us now from D.C., Fox News Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen. So this is original reporting from the AP. What should the folks know about it, Rosen?
Well, first of all, primarily that it's not good news for Hillary Clinton. The Associated Press, which is widely respected, it's not anybody's idea of a right-wing attack machine, has been using the Freedom of Information Act. And they've gotten a hold of a number of Secretary Clinton's schedules, her calendars from when she was America's top diplomat. And the AP analysis of these schedules finds that more than half of the people who got a meeting with Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State, or a phone call with her when she was Secretary of State, who were themselves outside the government, more than half of them either gave directly to the Clinton Foundation or did so through groups and companies.
Is there any perspective on this? I mean, the other secretaries of state really didn't have charitable foundations to that extent, but how hard is it to get an interview with a Secretary of State? I mean, it's hard for you, and you covered state for a while, but how hard is it for a civilian to walk in and get to talk to John Kerry or Hillary Clinton?
Sure. Well, it's much easier if you've given $5 to $10 million to the Clinton Foundation and you asked about what is the context. The context here is that the Associated Press report comes at a time of mounting questions about whether the Clinton State Department maintained an appropriate distance from the Clinton Foundation. When she became Secretary of State, when Barack Obama asked Hillary Clinton to serve in his administration, the Obama White House made Hillary Clinton sign an ethics agreement that stipulated that she would maintain a healthy distance from the Clinton Foundation.
Was that the same paper that said she wouldn't use her private emails for government business? Was that the same day? Did she sign them both at the same time?
We're checking.
So the appearance here is a play for pay, as Donald Trump would put it. Now let's turn to the foundation, which you know a lot about. They spent, the Clinton Foundation, $21 million just in 2014 alone on travel That's 8% of the total receipts. That was mostly private jets where Bill and Hillary Clinton were whipping around all over the place, correct?
My understanding is, having looked at this, the Clinton Foundation doesn't have its own airplane, its own jet plane. They are largely dependent on donors and others who are friends of the Clintons. There's evidence that Bill Clinton, as former president, used the same one rich guy's airplane something like 15 times in a 10-year period, or 25 times in a 10-year period. We can safely assume that no former president of the United States and no former First Lady of the United States has ever really lacked for transportation.
Well, they rented their planes. And, you know, for security reasons also. He is a former president, and she is a Secretary of State, but that's a lot of money. And overall, Charity Navigator, by the way, which is the watchdog of all the American charities, they don't process the Clinton Foundation anymore because they say it's not in the model of a regular charity. But we do know that in 2014 from the IRS that 79% of the donations were used on for charitable purposes. That's low.
There's another estimate that puts it closer to 88%. But there's no question that the Clinton Foundation was able to operate for a long time without really close scrutiny of what it was up to. And now that scrutiny has come, and now we see former President Clinton himself saying that if his wife is elected president, he'll step down from the Clinton Foundation. A lot of things will change. They won't accept corporate and foreign money and so on and so forth. The Boston Globe has already called in an editorial last week for the Clinton Foundation to cease accepting funds immediately, and if Hillary Clinton wins the White House, to shut down altogether because, as the newspaper put it in its editorial, the foundation is just too much of a conflict of interest for comfort.
Okay. But they're not going to appoint a special prosecutor. Loretta Lynch won't do that.
Doubtful.
Yeah, it's 100%. It's not going to happen. President Obama didn't want that. He doesn't want to go against his own party. Now, on the email front, we have his legal analyzing what this Judicial Watch thing is. But is there anything new on that? Because, you know, the voters have got a headache on all this foundation email, and, you know, every day there's something else. And then, you know, Hillary doesn't seem to be that concerned about it. Anything new on the email front?
There is lots that's new on the email front. The FBI uncovered 15,000 new documents.
Yeah, that was earlier the week.
Right, and we've just seen Judicial Watch release 725 emails, again, including some that Hillary Clinton failed to turn over. And yours truly reported on this network that the chief operating officer for the Clinton Foundation was calling Secretary Clinton's chief of staff during a 2-year period at least 150 times. So there's clearly perhaps an unhealthy relationship between Clinton State Department and Clinton Foundation. To your point about the headache of the voters, Bill, you're quite right that to the viewer at home who keeps hearing about foundations and emails and some that were turned over and investigations and so on, it is to them a kind of a farrago of stuff. And already Hillary Clinton has a solid reputation in this country with the voters, whereby 3/4 regard her as dishonest and untrustworthy. I'm not sure that that translates to regarding her as corrupt. That might be the avenue that Donald Trump can play successfully, but we also have to ask the question. You mentioned this word, one word, in your talking points memo, independence. How many people in America, how many people likely to vote in America remain persuadable on these
about
two individuals?
8%, the polls say. But again, there's so much fog surrounding all of this. But look, voters, I think, know generally what both candidate stands for. James Rosen, everyone, thank you.